afternoon, YouTube. A while back I did a video on what I thought was the best survival handgun. If you could have one handgun, what would it be? And as you shoot guns and as you get around and get more experience with them, you get different opinions and you get more experience. And if I had to still pick a revolver, I would still go with a .357 Magnum, preferably Ruger Blackhawk, because of how wonderfully tough they are. And the fact that in .357 Magnum, you can use that round for so much. You can also shoot .38 Special out of it. So you've got a gun that would be good for anything from small game to big game such as deer, and then onwards up to, of course, personal defense. And, because larger calibers like 44, 45, not so great on small game. And again, that you're talking a survival handgun. One gun to basically cover everything. Now, if I had to go with a semi-automatic pistol, my choice would end up probably, I'm going to say probably, most likely being this Makarov PM, the Makarov PM in 9mm Makarov, 9x18. Now, why do I say that? Why do I pick that? Most guys say, well, why not get a 22? Okay, 22, yes, for small game, you're good. But it isn't just the caliber that I'm picking here. It's also the gun itself. And one of the reasons why I've picked the Makarov PM is because of how simple it is, how rugged it is. It has a wonderful reputation of being just about, you can't really appreciate one of these until you've actually looked at it and taken it apart. These guns have 28 parts in them. That's it. There's nothing else. It's a simple blowback design. The Russians, when they designed this, of course being the East German gun, but they're all the same. When they designed this, the Makarov PM, they designed it to be extremely simple to maintain. And the fact that you can take this gun apart with almost no tools. Most guns, especially a handgun, if you break some parts, you're going to a gunsmith. With a Makarov PM, you have a simple recoil spring, the mainspring, and then there's the firing pin, which is a free-floating firing pin. Most guns, say you need to replace a firing pin. You're going to need tools to do that. You might even need to go to a gunsmith to do it. Some handguns are to the point where you really can't get in that. The Makarov PM, and I'm sure everybody here has seen these break down before, so I don't really need to do that. But the Makarov PM has a wonderful design when it comes to placing the firing pin. You simply just flip the decocker up like this. There's your firing pin. Need to replace firing pin? It's that simple. It comes out, you slide a new one in, and you're good to go. It's a wonderful design, guys. I mean, you can't possibly, the biggest thing is orientating the firing pin when you get it back in. And it takes a little bit of trickiness to get it in there if it doesn't quite go in there exactly the right way. But once it's in there, there it is. You're back in. Firing pin is right back where it was. The decocker itself holds it in place, and you're good to go if you have to replace the firing pin. It's that simple. Put the gun back together. And if you had to replace the firing pin, you are now ready to go again. It's that simple. And the neat thing is, if you do have to replace anything else, here's the Makarov cleaning rod, okay? Now, it looks very similar to a Nagant revolver cleaning rod, except for it has this tab here, and it has this tab here. Now, people wonder, what is this for? That is if for some reason you need to replace the extractor. If you look very closely, you'll see a hook. A little tab right there. You see that? That's where the end of that tool goes in. The larger end, that looks like a flat, like a screwdriver tip, that's for your grip screw. That's what that's for. This one tool can take apart this gun without the need of a screwdriver or anything else. The one thing I've noticed with the East German grip screw, like on this one, is that this grip screw is a little thinner than this is. So I'm going to probably take a Dremel and file that down some. I've been told that for some reason, the grip screw in the Russian guns, this is not a problem. This is, they list this as a Russian cleaning rod. I'm sure it's with the Bulgarians, it's the same. But, okay, the other thing is it's an all-metal gun. There's no polymer here. There's nothing to worry about breaking. The sights are extremely simple. The only thing you can do with the sight is drift it for windage. Nothing really here to worry about. 8-round magazines. They're metal. You know, I don't know how old these magazines are. The gun is from 1961. The magazines may very well be that same time period. I've shot just about everything out of this gun. I've had it not that long, but I've put a ton of rounds to this. I mean, several hundred rounds have gone through this gun. No jams, no problems. And you'll hear some people saying, well, I can't get good Makarov ammo. Okay, I can get this anywhere. I've gotten 2 boxes recently. One dealer has that. And I can get Full Metal Jacket either through Silver Bear. I can get the Winchester. I've gotten tons of Winchester ammo. 95 grain Full Metal Jacket. I can get it for the same price as the foreign stuff. Guys, it's there. I mean, holsters. You can either use the old military flap holster, which wouldn't be bad if you're going to use it on trail, keep weather and snow out of it. Or I'm recently ordered one from Simply Rugged. I don't have it yet. I'm hoping it'll be here in the next couple of weeks for when I go out more in the wintertime. But guys, you know, and they're cheap. You can get them, they're Bulgarian ones, $350, $400, pretty much for the most part. But again, why would I recommend this as a full-time survival gun? Just because it can do so much. These guns, the barrel's fixed. I've rarely heard of any problems with the barrels. Recoil springs, if I was going to have one of these around, like I do this one here, buy a couple extra parts, buy an extractor, buy a couple of firing pins. They're not expensive. Get yourself a couple of springs, keep them handy, get a manual on how to take it apart, which, again, there's 28 parts to this gun. Once I take the extractor, the decocker, and the firing pin out of the slide, that's it. There's no more parts other than the sights. That's it. There's nothing else. The grips, one screw, they come off. That's it. This is probably the simplest handgun I've ever owned when it comes to just being able to break it down, take it apart. And again, I've shot hundreds of rounds through this gun. It just works. It's what it is. It was built for, by the Russians, designed by the Russians, to be a simple, rugged, military handgun. It is that. The caliber, personal defense, yeah, okay, guys, well, gee, it's not quite as powerful as 9mm Luger. All right, but for a smaller handgun like this, a concealed carry handgun, I can carry this in a pocket. I can carry this in a hip holster. Nobody knows the difference, guys. Magazines are cheap and they're durable. For again, all metal magazine. I can get them. You hear horror stories about some of the prices. I don't know where some of these people shop, but I can get magazines all day long for under $20 online. I know where I can get them. I'm going to order another 1 or 2 the next week or so. I don't know what more to say other than, guys, I mean, and I've shot. You're talking to a person, you're listening to a person who has shot Glocks, Smith & Wessons, 1911s, revolvers. Name the revolver, I've shot it. Colt, single action armies, Ruger Blackhawks. I've owned several. I think I've owned like 8 or 9 Blackhawks. I've owned Vaqueros. I've owned, I don't know how many handguns I've owned over the years, guys. This, to me, if I had a semi-auto pistol that I was going to pick for a survival gun, one handgun as a survival handgun, it's the Makarov PM. Just because it just works. It's not elegant. It's not fancy. It's not, you're not going to be able to hang a laser off it. Not going to be able to hang a light off it. Gadgets, there aren't any. Some people are not big fans of the fact it's got the Hilo magazine release. I have no problem with that magazine release. That works to me just fine. It's just a different way of doing things. But guys, it's a gun that just works. If you had to buy one handgun to get you through and to say, this is a gun that's going to go with me, I'm going to use it for everything in case of the proverbial excrement hitting the fan, and you're not into revolvers, this is the gun I would choose. Hands down, I've shot, again, I can't tell you the number of rounds I put through Glocks, 1911s, other handguns, my Smith & Wesson Model 39 9mm. If I had to choose between two handguns, if I had to walk out the door with one of them right now and say you can only pick one handgun to walk out the door, and it's going to have to be for everything you're doing with a pistol, it's this one. It's the Makarov. It's just that good of a gun. And again, they're not expensive if you get the Bulgarians. So, with that being said, folks, and again, if you can hand load for these, you know, when you shoot like I do, the Winchester or the Hornady ammo, you can pick your brass up. You can hand load for them. The difference is you've got to make sure you get the correct diameter bullets. I can go on Gunbroker, buy a box of Hornady bullets, .363 diameter. Reloading dies, Lee sells them. You know, they're not hard to reload for. It's a simple round, it's a simple gun, it's a simple design. It'll do everything you guys want it to do. So, with that being said, YouTube, have a good day, and I hope to bring you more videos on this and some other guns come up in the near future, depending on how the weather is, because it hasn't really stopped snowing here for a while. Have a good day, folks.